Hey, yo, what's up, everyone? So let's talk about what's good in God's word in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. I said in my heart, come now, I will test you with mirth. Therefore, enjoy pleasure. But surely this also was vanity. I said of laughter, madness, and of mirth, what does it accomplish? I searched my heart, how to gratify my flesh with wine, while guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly till I might see what was good for the sons of men to do under heaven all the days of their lives. I made my works great. I built myself houses, planted myself vineyards, made myself gardens and orchards, and I planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made myself water pools from which to water the growing trees of the grove. I acquired male and female servants and had servants born in my house. Yes, I had greater possessions of herds and flocks than all who were in Jerusalem before me. I also gathered for myself silver and gold and the special treasures of kings and of the provinces. I acquired male and female singers, the delights of the sons of men, and musical instruments of all kinds. I became great and excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. Whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my reward from my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and the labor in which I had toiled, and indeed all was vanity and grasping the wind. There was no profit under the sun. Oh my goodness. So what could possibly be good to know about these verses right here? Well, let's do what we often do on these videos. Let's start with a question. Are you fulfilled? Think about that now and be honest, because the scriptures will find you out. Are you fulfilled? Like, really? Do you feel your life has genuine sense of purpose that aligns with your innermost desires and brings joy beyond circumstances? The world tells us that fulfillment is the emotional reward we get when we complete a personal goal or see a dream realized or achieve a certain level of success. But is that true? Is that what fulfillment really is? Well, let's compare it with the scriptures to see whether or not the world is lying to us. You can divide Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verses 1 through 11 into sections where Solomon highlights 7 pursuits in his life that he did pretty well in. He also talks about the quality of effort and work that he put into that success, and he enjoyed each of those areas. So even though he was the king of Israel, it's not like everything he had was just given to him. Like, he put in work to accomplish the things that he did. He didn't just bark orders at servants to do all of his stuff for him. The book of Ecclesiastes uses words like labor, work, and toil a lot, emphasizing the energy and effort he himself put into his life. So this issue really speaks to the problems that come to us when our lives are governed by our jobs and we place our hope in that effort to bring us fulfillment. So like, our jobs are the key to getting the money we need for the life that we want to be peaceful and fulfilling. Well, let's see what Solomon had to say about that. The first issue he saw was with the pursuit of entertainment so that he could just have fun and laugh all the time. In verse 2, he wrote, I said of laughter, madness, and of mirth, what does it accomplish? Having all the resources and wisdom anyone could possibly have, Solomon discovered that making our life's pursuit all about having a good time is absolute madness. It's foolishness. It's insane to think that you can be fulfilled by going to work just to earn the right to entertain yourself all day long. This is the equivalent of people who today would say that they're going to work but living for the weekend. Is there genuine fulfillment in that lifestyle? Many people are trying really hard to convince themselves that there is. But according to the Bible, they're wrong. And deep down, we all know that's true. From God's perspective, it's crazy to live this way. Solomon asked a good question. What does it accomplish to commit your life's work to income that pays for all the pleasures that the world has to offer? Are people ever really fulfilled by that? Does that lifestyle give us a true sense of purpose, or is it just temporary emotional stimulation? If it were so satisfying, why is the world so depressed? And why do we have to keep going back for more? In verse 3, Solomon addressed the issue of drinking. If there is a joke the world plays on people, drinking is pretty high on the list. In verse 3, Solomon wrote, I searched in my heart how to gratify my flesh with wine. Wow, guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly till I might see what was good for the sons of men to do under heaven all the days of their life. Solomon saw other people drinking because it looked like they were having fun, and so he tried to join in. He's like, that looks cool. Let's try it out. He even exercised good wisdom, right? And drank responsibly, as we would say today. What good did it do him? Well, based on what he said in verse 1, this was also vanity. Drinking added no substance to his life. Didn't help him find a meaningful purpose. And think about how the world tries to lie to us about this very thing. How often do we see commercials and entertainment glorify not just the drinking, but even make light of the miserable consequences that come with it, like hangovers and DUIs and other catastrophic things that come as a result of partying? When has a drink ever produced fulfillment for the soul by giving us a sense of purpose? In fact, you could argue that many people drink because they don't know their sense of purpose and want to distract themselves and numb that reality. But here's where it starts to get real. In verses 4 through 6, Solomon says his achievements were even pretty worthless. And that dude accomplished a lot. He wrote, I made my works great. I built myself houses, planted myself vineyards. I made myself gardens and orchards, and I planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made myself water pools from which to water the growing trees of the grove. Now, notice that he built houses, plural, vineyards, plural, gardens and orchards, all plural, right? Most of us haven't and never will build a house, let alone multiple houses. Again, when you consider the ridiculous resources that Solomon had access to, he accomplished things that at a level that no one can relate to, even today. And he still couldn't find satisfaction and fulfillment in those things. For those of us who are working just to build up our houses, so that it measures up to some vision we have in our minds, is it worth it? Will we be satisfied if we can get that additional remodel done? Does it ever really end? None of us will ever be able to accomplish all that Solomon did. And all that he did wasn't enough. What makes us think that our meager achievements will somehow produce different results? Next, Solomon addressed the issue of possessions. In verse 7, he wrote, I acquired male and female servants and had servants born in my house. Yes, I had greater possessions of herds and flocks than all who were in Jerusalem before me. Look, dude was paid more than anyone even alive today. He had armies of servants who gladly served his purposes. He had more money to get more stuff than anyone who came before him or even anyone after him. A lot of us think that if we can just get the right job that pays enough to buy all the things we want or need in life, life will be simpler and we'll be happy, right? Well, Solomon did that to a degree that we can't even fathom. And he said it was like chasing the wind. Did you hear that? All those possessions, and it was like grabbing at air. No fulfillment. If that wasn't convincing enough, he elaborated on the issue of money itself. Yeah, Solomon possessed a bunch of stuff and had a large enough staff to maintain it all. But the first part of verse 8 speaks specifically to money. He wrote, I also gathered for myself silver and gold and the special treasures of kings of the provinces. Now, how many people are working crazy hours at crazy jobs, giving up all kinds of stuff just to have money for money's sake? They just want to store it all up. They just want to see the figures multiply in the bank statements, right? Well, Solomon did that. And he said it was worthless. Again, no meaning, no purpose, no fulfillment. This next one hits close to home for me. The second half of verse 8 refers to music. Here's what it says. I acquired male and female singers, the delights of the sons of men, and musical instruments of all kinds. Solomon had access to the best musicians of his time that played the best music all of the time. When I started DJing as a kid, I got pretty good, and I got to play in some pretty amazing venues at some epic events in front of thousands of people, and made pretty good money doing it. I used to tell myself and others that music was my life. Now, despite all my success, I can vouch 100% for Solomon. It was all worthless. In fact, I can confidently say that the more success I found in music, the darker my life got for real. So many of us depend on music to influence our mood and inspire us. Solomon had access to the best of the best, and it wasn't enough. Music didn't fulfill him either, no matter how deep he was to it or how devoted he was to it. Lastly, the seventh point, fame. Verse 9 says, So I became great and excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. Solomon wrote about how great he became, and he wasn't exaggerating. Everyone everywhere knew about him and his kingdom because of what God was doing in his life and in Israel at that time. But notice how often he referred to what he did for himself. In verse 4, he wrote, I made my works great. Verse 5, I made myself gardens, and so forth. Then at the end in verse 9, I became great. Solomon did all these things and actually succeeded. That's the scary thing. When you look at those verses, they prove that we cannot satisfy ourselves even if we succeed and excel in the things that we do. And think about it. If we're honest with ourselves, most of us fail more than we succeed, right? Do we really think that we can change the truth so that our success actually produces the fulfillment Solomon couldn't find when he worked to indulge himself? Come on now. Then notice the variety of things that he did. Think about how so many people bounce from, hobby to hobby or trend to trend, trying to live life to the fullest, as we say. Can you live any more full than Solomon did? And yet he was unfulfilled with all of those things. Pretty ironic and crazy, if you ask me. No matter how many things we try to get into and explore to see which one will be the one that fulfills us, all of it will leave us empty. The worst part is that fulfillment didn't even come to Solomon, despite the fact that he actually enjoyed a lot of the things that he did. That's really scary. If you can have that emotional stimulation that we call happiness, right? Doing things for yourself and still be unfulfilled overall, that's crazy. That's the brutal truth of this world. There isn't a shortage of things, in the world to make us happy for a moment. But happiness from the world is circumstantial. So why are these things actually good to know? First, notice the pattern. The more Solomon sought to indulge and please himself, the more he realized he couldn't satisfy himself. He was focused on self. If our lives are focused on self, right, me trying to do me, satisfaction and fulfillment will be elusive. If we're working just to please ourselves, building up our lives to achieve some vision we have of how we think our lives should be, we will be bitter and disappointed in the end, and probably pretty frustrated along the way, right? The truth is, God created us for a purpose, and we don't really get to dictate those terms. It's his purpose. He created us to worship him, not to worship ourselves by using the life that he gives to labor for selfish ambitions. That's why many people say we have a God-shaped hole in our hearts. If we try to fill it with anything except the Lord himself, it remains unfulfilled. So all of this bad news is actually good news. It should simplify our lives, helping us to pursue the right things that actually bring lasting joy and fulfillment. This is why the scriptures teach that the greatest command God gave is to love him with everything we've got, with our hearts, souls, and all our strength. We shouldn't be working just to love ourselves by chasing all the things we think are good for us without any consideration of the one who actually created us. In Matthew chapter 16, verse 24, Jesus plainly said that if we wanted to be where he is, the right hand of the Father, where there's pleasure forevermore, we need to deny ourselves, take up our crosses, and follow him. We can't live this life with a mindset focused on self by chasing after the things that have no real value because they don't align with God's eternal and spiritual purposes. Instead, we need to trust the Word. We need to make Jesus Christ our chief focus and our relationship with him through the Word our chief pursuit. We need to trust God when he says that this is really what fulfills us despite our circumstances. That's what living by faith as a real Christian is all about. And that's what is truly good. God bless y'all. Peace out.